If you haven't met me before, my name's Zach. I'm a software engineer at IBM. I've been working on Presto for a while, year and a half, 2 years now, but I've been involved in the open source big data ecosystem for the last 10 years, and I started, my professional career doing internships with Hortonworks back in like 2013, 2014. So I've been around this space for a while, and today we're just going to quickly talk about how we plan to try to modernize Presto and bring us into 2024 in terms of the runtime libraries and everything that Presto sits on top of. So despite what you might all think in terms of all the advancements we've had with Velox and Prestissimo in the last few years and all the people that are attending today, Presto, in my opinion, is a little bit outdated. The technology, the language that we built it on, Java, back in the early 2010s, is now 10 years old. A lot of the libraries that we still rely on are also very old, and there's been a lot of advancements in the tech world since then. ARM is now common in servers. 512-bit width SIMD is now very common across pretty much every server architecture. Stuff in the cloud, S3 and eventual consistency was something that AWS had fixed back in 2018, 2019, but was a big problem for people early on using S3. And there's been a lot of advancements that Presto can start taking more advantage of if we try to move to newer libraries and take advantage of the software and hardware advances. So I did a quick scan on the code base the other day, and we rely on over 500 different third-party dependencies outside of Presto. I think that's it's quite a lot. I mean, Presto is a big project. 88% of those 500 dependencies are outdated. They're on versions that can be upgraded, either minor or major. If we're talking about dependencies that can go major version upgrades, so things like Hadoop 2 to Hadoop 3, out of all the dependencies we use, 41% of the dependencies used in Presto have a major version upgrade available. And so this is just a product of Presto being around for a very long time. We have to kind of stay up to date. On top of that, Presto we know is compatible with Java 8, at least at the source code level. Java 8 has now been around officially for 10 years, and we are about to release Java 25 in September of 2025. That's going to be the next LTS release. So we are going to be 13 Java versions behind if we don't catch up. And there's a lot of great advancements that have been made to the JVM over the last 10 years that I think we should be able to take advantage of. And even though we're moving the execution and evaluation part of Presto to C++ execution, there's still a lot of stuff that goes on in the coordinator. I don't think the Java coordinator is going to be going anywhere for a while. And it's still responsible for parsing all of our queries, doing query optimization. And so it's important that we take advantage of all the performance that we can get from the underlying libraries and JDK. So I'm going to go through just a couple of the advantages of upgrading to the JDK. I know a lot of us are users here, but we also have plenty of developers, and we need to get everyone on board with this upgrade because it'll affect the developers and it will affect the users. And users are important. We need to get their buy-in for a lot of this stuff. So one of the first things with moving to a new JDK for Presto is that there's a lot of advancements that have been made at the programming language level that that improves developer productivity and also helps reduce the occurrence of bugs when writing code. So some example of this is Java now has this thing called sealed types. If you're familiar with programming language theory, this is related to sum types. So it's like advanced enums, and it allows you to do pattern matching. And it's a lot easier for us to write correct code, especially for things like the optimizer. Pattern matching is another thing. We're familiar maybe with switch and case statements. Pattern matching is like an advanced version of that that makes writing conditionals way easier and also easier to read in the code. Record classes is another thing. If you're not familiar, if you're writing just a simple data object that just needs to maybe be serialized through JSON, right now, the minimum amount of code you need to write for a class is probably 100 lines. Record classes can turn that into 12 lines. So a lot less code that we can write. We can delete a lot of code, making use of these new JDK features. There's been improvements to JDK error messages, such as null pointer exceptions in later JDKs, makes debugging easier. Things like the JFR, if you're not familiar, Java Flight Recorder, has been standardized in later JDKs and makes continuous monitoring of your JVMs a lot easier. You can get better insights about your heap utilization and garbage collection through JFRs. And they have made the interface much more usable in later JDKs. And on top of that, there's performance implications. The recent JDKs have added this new concept of virtual threads where when you're doing a bunch of I.O. In JVMs on like Java 8 or 11, you need to create a new operating system thread every time if you want to do a bunch of concurrent I.O. Smarter virtual threads and newer JVMs allow you to limit the number of operating system resources that you utilize and will offload threads. We'll be able to use less operating system threads in exchange for just having these virtual ones. On top of that, there's also the new foreign memory APIs and also vector APIs to make use of SIMD instructions in newer JVMs. So that's a lot of the language features that come with an upgrade. And on top of that, there's also the big thing with Java is garbage collection, right? So there's a new low latency garbage collector that's been added and GA'd in Java 17 and greater. They call it ZGC. So these charts I'm going to show are from an engineer at Oracle who has recently presented all this work maybe a month or two back at a Java developer conference. But these are numbers from a garbage collection benchmark, and the colored bars represent each of the different garbage collectors in Java, Parallel, G1, ZGC, and they show the improvement of these garbage collectors over the Java versions. So far left is Java 8, middle is Java 17, far right is Java 21, which is the current latest LTS release. And you can see in this first chart the throughput improvements for G1, which I believe is what we currently recommend for Presto clusters, Java Presto clusters. There's been approximately a 40% throughput improvement for the G1 garbage collector. And then you can see the latency improvements. There's been a 200% improvement in the latency in garbage collection. So I believe this is for stop the world pauses in G1. And then you can see this is P99 GC pause times. So ZGC is designed to be a low latency collector. You can see it's orders of magnitude less than the other ones. So we see slight improvements in G1 here, and ZGC is on the order of tenths of milliseconds. So it's something that we would love to try out, moving Presto to a later Java version. And then this is the memory overhead, so like peak memory that you would see in the JVM when using certain garbage collectors. And you can see the G1 collector, which is what we use for Presto, is using 50% of the memory that you would get in Java 8. So a lot of big improvements in the JVM runtime that we would love to see be used in Presto. So this is just some evidence to hopefully convince our users and developers that this is a worthwhile cause to pursue. So what is the actual plan for our migration? We've been doing some discussion within the community. We've been talking, I work for IBM. We've been talking with a bunch of folks at Meta and Uber about how they can prioritize moving to Java 20, at least Java 17, ideally 21 in the future for their builds. And so this plan kind of represents the discussions we've been having, but dates are subject to change, and of course with community input can be updated. So the first thing is sometime in the next month or two, ideally for the Presto 2.9.1 release, we're going to start officially supporting JDK 17. So you'll be able to run on Java 17. That means you'll be able to make use of the new ZGC collector if that's something we want to try out. We'll officially support the 17 runtime. Our code will still compile to Java 8 compatibility, so developers won't be able to take advantage of the new JVM features, but at the runtime, you'll be able to use any of the new JVM flags. So again, garbage collectors. After that, for the next Presto release, we'll stay the same. We'll keep the 8 and 17 compatibility, but we'll officially mark Java 8 as deprecated. So that will be the first release where people should know that it's time to move your clusters off of Java 8 or your images. After that, the next Presto release is when we'll do the official upgrade to the 17 bytecode level. So our compiler will compile to Java 17 compatibility. We'll get access to some of these new language features for developers. Maybe we can utilize some new libraries. We'll be able to get a lot more security fixes in at this point in time. And one of the, I think, big things with this is the Presto on Spark. People will need to upgrade all their Presto on Spark stuff to Java 17. So that, I think that's Meta and anyone else who's running Presto on Spark. And then after that, the plans are less clear, but we would love to upgrade to Java 21 because there's even more language features that have come in Java 21, and a new LTS release, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be out in September of 2025, and we would love to support that LTS release when it comes out so that we can keep Presto modern and we can keep upgrading our dependencies. So anyways, that's the plan. But we need your help. We need community help to do this. It's really important. We can't just upgrade it without talking to anyone. We need to know, does Java 17 degrade your build? Does it affect your performance? Is there something that's blocking you from upgrading? It's important for the users to get involved, let us know, try things out. That's why we're going to have these dual compatibility builds with 8 and 17, so that way you can roll things back if they are not working, and we'll try to flesh out all of the issues. We also encourage any developers in the room get involved. We have a lot of project boards in the open source Presto ecosystem, a lot of issues we've already created for work that needs to be done to help complete this upgrade and make it available to everyone. So I have some links here in this slide where you can find and access the issue trackers and also discuss with us things about the upgrade. We have a JDK 21 upgrade channel in Slack that I highly recommend people join and join the discussion with us if they have any concerns or ideas about how to go about the upgrade. And there's some feature branches that we've already been working on if you look in the Presto open source repository, where we've been slowly making the changes required to do this upgrade, and hopefully we'll get these all merged pretty soon. But anyways, thanks everyone for coming to talk. I know I'm a little bit over time. Please get involved and don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Thanks.